it's Jessica here, and today is our Technique Tuesday video, and this month we are focusing on doodling. I am not much of a doodler myself, and I know it's something that can be a little bit intimidating, so this video is doodling for non-doodlers. And there's a lot of different ways you can get into doodling. I like to have something on the base that I can either trace over or add some extra dots or something to. So that's my way of doodling. And that way I don't have to think too hard. I don't have to create my own images. I can just doodle and relax and have fun with it, which is more my style and what I like to do in my art journals. So I decided that I'm working across 2 art journals because once I already have out all of my colors and I like this color scheme and I like what I'm doing, I figure it takes about just as long to do it on a separate page. And then also while I'm waiting for one side to dry, I can start painting the other. I'm using some Stamperia art journals, and then the paints I'm using are from Dina Wakley, and I'm using the colors Ocean, Turquoise, Blushing, Lemon, and Cheddar. They all go really nicely together, and I watered them down a little bit and put them here and there on my background. And for backgrounds, I really try to keep all of my brush strokes either vertical or horizontal. Once you start adding some diagonals, it becomes more powerful and it brings it to the forefront, where this I want it all for the background. My first doodling hack is use some stencils or masks. And that is because it'll give you something to doodle on top of. So I'm starting with these flowers, and it's already a flower, it's already pretty, and once this paint dries, I can just doodle away on top of it. So I'm going to start with these, and these will still be a little bit in the background, so you can use them 2 ways. The stencils, use a dauber and put the paint in, and then the masks, you can create more like a shadowed effect by inking around them. And I'm doing this also in my smaller book as well, just adding it here and there. And because I am working in 2 books, once I finish with one, it's already dry in the other, so I can just keep moving quickly. I'm not thinking too hard about any of these decisions I'm making. I'm just going with the flow, and that's just how I like to art journal. My next step for layering and trick for doodling is use some collage sheets, because you glue them down using some collage medium or collage gel, and they just disappear into the page. It looks like you could have doodled them there yourself. And so you can either use it as a doodle, or like how I'm going to use it, I will go over and doodle a little bit more on top of these circles. As you can see, when I started painting, I dabbed my brush into the paint and I smeared some more paint around, so now I'm just going around and making it look like that was purposeful. You never know what's going to happen in an art journal. The best way that I've found to apply these collage sheets is to squirt some of the collage gel on the background and use a paintbrush to smear it around everywhere where your collage sheet will be, and stick on your collage sheet, press it down, and then add some more of the glue to go over top of it as well. And that's really what makes those edges disappear, and you're left with just the black outline or drawn image. So I'm doing the same thing on this page as well, and adding a little bit more to go over top, and you can see how it looks like a drawing that I drew in my art journal. I'm adding some more over here and adding these leaves. Same process. I like to cut around the image, and I try not to have super hard edges because it just helps that tissue disappear into the page even more. But even when you glue them on and start doodling on top of them, it really looks like it it just belongs there. So here you can see I'm starting to do some doodling. I am using an acrylic paint marker, and these are from Vicky Boutin, and I've been loving using them because the paint flows out really, really nicely. Something that I like about doodling flowers is it doesn't take much for it to look like a flower. It looks like a flower. You add some loops, add a stem, it's a flower. So even a flower like this, it doesn't look like it was drawn by an artist. It looks like it was just doodled there, and I love the look of that. I am using a leaf stencil to look like I doodled on some leaves on this page. And then I'm going over this other leaf and just outlining it and adding some dots. Dots are one of the things that I feel like it looks very doodly, and it adds a lot, but it is so quick and easy to do, especially using these paint markers. I could just dot, 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 and there we go. There's the doodle. You can see how I'm also doodling over these black circles and creating my own designs. I'm sometimes tracing some of the designs, some of them I'm making up my own. And then I'm also going over these as well. I'm not trying to perfectly trace over. I still want to see that black line underneath, but just going over it so it has a little bit more color and just another doodly element. You can also buy stencils that have lines and dashes or crosses, and these are perfect for doodle as well. And you can see I'm adding more dots because I feel like you can never have enough dots. On this face, I am drawing some rosy cheeks and added a little bit of color to the lips, and then added some color to the eyes as well. Now I'm taking some orange and just outlining this leaf. So you can see how you can add doodles even if you're not big into drawing, even if you're not trying to plan out this whole page. So once I got to this point on this book here, I thought it was looking a bit too busy, so I'm going to knock it back a bit by adding white paint. White paint is definitely a must-have for me in my art journals. A lot of times I just add way too much at first, and I just want a bit fresher of a start or cleaner of a page, and that's where I'll bring in the white paint. And all of the work that I had done in this book before, it'll still be there. You'll still see the layers, and once I add some white, it just looks a bit cleaner and fresher, but I can still see all of the work that I've already done on it. And you'll see I'll still be able to see the flowers and trace over them. So I think sometimes you just need a fresher start and you get a better idea of what you're going to do next. Now I wanted to doodle some letters, so I was just practicing over here. And at first I was just going to do some regular all uppercase, but then I decided I would add some little curls here and there on my letters and make some of them longer, some of the letters look like they're floating a little bit, and this just gives it a bit more artsy and flowy and doodly look. Here is when I am doing some true doodling, and I didn't have a stencil or anything. And I wanted to say when I first started this, I was like, oh, that doesn't look good. But then I just kept going with it. I added some bolder lines and just kept working on it and adding some things to make it look like it really belonged there. And then it did look like it belonged there. So if you're not liking something, maybe just make your lines a little bolder, add some dots. I'm telling you, dots make things look cool. That's another doodling tip. So now I'm going back to my other page and tracing over some of the elements that I still want, but I whited out a bit. And then I'm going to use these transparent pages. These are also from Dino Wackley, and I really love using them because it's such a different element. You don't usually see a material like this in my art journals, so I think it's a lot of fun to add. So, and also these faces give a nice focal point and just a bit more symmetry to this page, because before I didn't really know where I wanted my focal point to be. I'm still going over with these paint markers and adding some more color here and there and drawing over these flowers, and so I can maybe like them more. These flowers I had to fight with a bit to really like, but once I got to this point I decided that I finally was happy with them. My favorite way to stick these transparencies on a page is just to staple them there. If you use glue, you have to use a lot of glue, and it's hard to not see the big glue blobs underneath, but if you just staple them, they stay so well, and the staples add a different element that's kind of fun as well. Now I'm taking a black marker. This is just a regular marker. It's not a alcohol or a paint marker. And I did some lines and dots and circles to create a border. This is a fun little saying, and this will just complete the page and make it feel like it's got a purpose and it's all done. So I found out how I wanted these on the page, and then I'm going to glue them down with my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. It's my go-to glue, and it sticks really well on top of these transparencies as well as on the paper. To make it feel like these titles and sayings really belong on the page, I'm going to outline them. Again, this is easy doodling that anybody can do. I didn't make my lines perfect, I just outlined the sayings. Then I'm going in with this green, and you guessed it, more dots, and with this pink, some lines. So really all of my doodles have been straight lines, dots, tracing. For my letters, I was just elongating and going up and down. Over here on my words, I'm adding, again, more dots. And just like that, I have a page that looks filled with doodles. I hope this inspires you, and thanks for watching.